Hello, my name is Michael Morales. I am a city park ranger with the city of Fayetteville-Cumberland Parks and Recreation. You can call me Ranger Mike. And I work out here at Clark Park Nature Center a lot of times. I had a problem the other day. I was walking around and a lady came up to me and she said she found a big caterpillar crawling on the ground out in the road. So I went out to check it out and I put it in a box so I could figure out what it was because I didn't want him to get squished. And I was looking at him. He's still kind of small. Caterpillars this time of year are still looking for things to eat. So we have 6 or so different kinds of trees right here around the nature center where he was found. And some caterpillars only eat 1 or 2 different kinds of leaves from trees. So I figured, which tree did he come from and which tree do I need to put him on so he can finish eating and turn to a beautiful Luna moth. This is one of our biggest moths. This is a toy, and they're green with these long tails. But he's not done growing yet. He needs to finish eating. And then I realized I didn't know what he ate. So I looked it up in a book. There's lots of books that tell you what caterpillars eat and where you find trees and how to identify them. And the easiest way to identify trees is by their leaves, by the shape of their leaves. And I realized I didn't know the shapes of the leaves. I needed to do some more studying. I read up on the caterpillar and come to find out Luna moths like to eat sweet gums. And we do have sweet gums here, but we also have white oaks, we have red maples, we have pine trees, we have tulip trees, and we have magnolias. So which one of these trees does he go to? So we need to learn a little bit more about leaves before we can help our little caterpillar buddy out and find out where he needs to go. You ever wonder why trees have leaves in the first place? Most plants do have leaves, except out in deserts. Leaves are green for a reason. The green inside of them is called chlorophyll. And chlorophyll is a chemical that captures sunlight and mixes it with water and air and turns it into food for the plants. And that food is in the form of sugar. So that's what leaves for, and that is their main job, is making food for the trees. But there's other uses for reasons we need to identify leaves, not just to help caterpillars out, and it's good that they help out the trees, but they also help people out. For thousands of years, people have learned how to identify trees by the shapes of their leaves. And using their leaves, people found all kinds of uses for different kinds of trees. We've learned how to make medicine out of trees, soaps, lotions, things to make us feel better. We've learned how to make rope out of trees. It's called this is made from the bark of a tulip tree. We've learned how to make dyes. Dyes are colors for cloth, for clothing, for blankets. So we've learned how to make different colors out of different parts of trees. A lot of food comes from trees. Fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds. We also have herbs and spices. Did you know chocolate comes from a tree in the tropics? We've learned how to use resin, sticky goo that comes out of certain trees like pine trees. We painted on old boats to make them so they wouldn't be so leaky when they were on the water, and have other uses for them in paint and chemical. And one of the most important things we use trees for is timber. Timber is wood. We use wood for building. This is what we use to make a lot of buildings and bridges and other constructions all around the world. And different trees have different types of wood. Some are stronger than the other. So all these are important reasons that people need to learn the different shapes of leaves so we can identify them. Another reason we need to learn how to identify leaves is for studying wildlife. Different animals feed on different leaves, just like the caterpillar of the Luna moth. Some animals only eat soft leaves, some animals eat tough leaves, and learning what kind of leaves you have, you learn what kind of trees are growing in your area and what kind of animals might live there. And some of them might be very rare and only live in certain habitats, certain places where plants and animals live together. Park rangers and scientists who study the habitat and environment, they learn a lot about leaf identification and how to use them to identify trees. It's helpful, especially if you study insects and birds. With a lot of caterpillars and, from moths and butterflies, they will only eat 1 or 2 different kinds of trees, and that's it. They won't eat anything else. So you have to know how to identify the leaves so you can know where to find the caterpillars. If you find the leaves, you find the trees, and then you find those caterpillars munching on the leaves if you're studying them. So, how do we identify leaves? So there's many different ways we can identify leaves, different features of them, but we're only going to talk about 3 in this video. We're going to figure out first whether you're looking at something with needles versus leaves. Secondly, we're going to look at the edges of the leaves themselves. They have different shapes that help to identify them. And third, we're going to look at the shape of the leaf. That's probably the easiest and most important way to figure out what kind of leaf you have. So I have 6 different leaves here that we find right here in the park. The first thing, we got to figure out, do we have a leaf or needles? And that's the easiest. So leaves are flat. They have veins, these little lines going down them. And needles are like straw, or like little sticks. They tend to be prickly and dry and long and skinny. So these are needles, and needles come from our pine trees. So we have about 3 or 4, maybe 5 different kinds of pine trees that grow here. This one is a loblolly pine. It's one of the most common ones that grow around people's yards and here in the park. The needles are in bundles. They're prickly, as I said. You may think this is something totally different from a leaf, but it's not. They do exactly the same job for the tree. They have green chlorophyll inside of them that can take sunlight, mix it with water and air in a process called photosynthesis, and they make food out of those materials. They make sugar for the tree to grow off of. So this is an easy one. So this is a pine. Now we have 5 different kinds of leaves to look at. Some leaves are completely unique. You don't have to really study them too much. They have a unique shape, and by unique shape I mean no other tree has a leaf that looks just like it. One of those is the tulip tree. Tulip trees look like somebody snipped the ends off with scissors. Some people also think that they look like little cat heads, little cat ears, little cat whiskers. Tulip tree is also the shape of the leaf. It kind of looks like the flower, the tulip from the side. This is one of our tallest trees with leaves, and it's unique. There's only one other tulip tree in the world. It grows in China. So if you find this tree growing here, it is a tulip tree. It's also called a yellow poplar, and it's a very unique tree that grows in our park. Another unique tree we have is the sassafras. Sassafras is a small tree. It has oval leaves, but it also is unique because it has several different shaped leaves growing on the same tree. Usually it has ovals, but it can also have mittens. There's a right mitten and a left mitten, which is an oval with a thumb sticking out. Then you have the bird foot, and the bird foot has 3 toes. There's even a variety that grows here that has 5 fingers. It's a full glove. All 5 fingers are represented. So it has many shapes of leaves on the same plant. This is the most common leaf shape you'll find. It's oval, and it's just oval meaning like the shape of an egg. This one is from a southern magnolia. They have big floppy leaves and they stay green all year round. They have a smooth edge. So that's one of the features. They have a smooth edge. That means there's no little teeth or spikes or spines. It's just nice and smooth. So this is a southern magnolia, and it's an oval leaf. The next leaf is a star-shaped leaf. You can see it looks kind of like a star with the points shooting in all different directions. This is a sweet gum. Sweet gums are one of the few trees we have that have star-shaped leaves. And they grow all over our forest here in North Carolina. They also have serrate edges. That means they have saw edges. It looks like a little saw if you look closer going on the edge of the leaves. This is the white oak, and it has rounded lobes. Lobes are like little branches of the leaf. They stick out, they come in, they stick out, they come in, and they're all rounded. They all have curves. So this one has a smooth edge and curved lobed leaves. So it has curved lobed leaves. And it's a big forest tree here in our park. And the last leaf I'll mention are red maples. Red maples also have lobes. That means it looks like they have branches to their leaves. But instead of rounded edges, they have sharp edges. They come to a point. Three main points. So these are red maple leaves. So anyway, now that we've identified our tree leaves, I think we can identify what tree our little buddy needs to go to. I said earlier that one of the leaves that he eats is the sweet gum. And that would be which one of these leaves? They're star-shaped. This one right here. So he needs a tree with these star-shaped leaves with serrated or saw edges to them. And that is what he eats. So I see a sweet gum growing right over there. I'm going to take our little Luna Moth caterpillar and walk him over there and let him go. I hope you've had a lot of fun learning about the leaves that grow here in the park and how we use them to identify different trees. Thanks for sticking with me. I'm Ranger Michael Morales. I'm going to walk over there and let our little buddy go so he can finish his life cycle, and we'll see him in a couple months when he's a full-grown Luna Moth flying around the park.